What if an object you could hold in your hands had once, 2,000 years ago, touched the body of Jesus Christ? Not a painting, not a copy, not a recreation, the real thing. Throughout history, empires have risen and fallen. Libraries have burned. Languages have died. Entire civilizations have been swallowed by sand and time. And yet, somehow, a handful of objects have endured. Objects that believers say bear the physical imprint of the most extraordinary life ever lived. Tonight, we are going to look at 7 of them. Some have been studied by NASA scientists. Some have been carried across deserts to escape invading armies. One was nearly destroyed in a cathedral fire, and firefighters risked their lives to pull it from the flames. And one has been touched by the hands of multiple popes. Are these relics the genuine artifacts of a crucifixion that changed the world forever? Or are they the most extraordinary coincidences in human history? Stay with us, because by the time we reach relic number 7, you may find yourself questioning everything you thought you knew about the boundary between faith and science. We begin with the most studied, most debated, most scientifically scrutinized piece of fabric on the face of the earth: the Shroud of Turin. It is a linen cloth, herringbone weave, measuring approximately 4.4 meters long and just over 1 meter wide. And on its surface, faint but unmistakable, is the full-length image of a man, front and back, bearded, wounded, with marks consistent with flogging across the back, thorn wounds around the head, and injuries to the hands, feet, and side. Every detail aligns with remarkable precision with the gospel accounts of the crucifixion. But here is what makes this cloth unlike anything else in the world. The image is not painted. It contains no pigments. It is not a photograph. Under microscopic analysis, the discoloration exists only on the very outermost fibers of the linen, a depth of roughly 1/500th of a millimeter. No known medieval technique, or modern technique for that matter, can reproduce it. The Shroud of Turin Research Project, a team of American scientists that included physicists, chemists, and image analysts, examined it exhaustively and reached a conclusion that stopped the scientific community cold. No known process can account for how the image was formed. In 1989, carbon-14 dating placed the cloth somewhere between 1260 and 1390 AD, squarely in the medieval period. For many, that seemed to settle the debate. But then, in 2022, researchers in Italy applied a cutting-edge technique called wide-angle X-ray, scattering to a sample of the linen. Their results suggested the cloth's structural characteristics were fully compatible with a fabric dating to somewhere between 55 and 74 CE, the era of Christ himself. The researchers suggested that environmental contamination may have skewed the earlier carbon dating results. The Catholic Church has never formally declared the shroud authentic, but it has never dismissed it either. Pope John Paul II called it a distinguished relic and a mirror of the gospel. Pope Benedict XVI described it as an icon written in blood. Science has not solved this mystery. It has only deepened it. Relic 2. The Sudarium of Oviedo. Most people have never heard of the Sudarium of Oviedo, and that, in some ways, makes it more intriguing than its famous counterpart in Turin. This is a small, blood-stained cloth, 84 centimeters by 53 centimeters, housed in the Cathedral of San Salvador in Oviedo, northern Spain. Unlike the shroud, it carries no image, no face, no figure. Just dark, irregular bloodstains arranged in a pattern consistent with a cloth folded in half and wrapped tightly around a human head. According to tradition, this is the Sudarium, the Latin word for sweat cloth, referenced in the Gospel of John, chapter 20, which describes the burial cloths found in the empty tomb. The cloth's documented journey is extraordinary. It traveled from Jerusalem to North Africa, escaping the Persian invasion of the early 7th century. Then, as Islamic forces swept across North Africa, Christian communities carried it northward into Spain, eventually placing it in Oviedo for safekeeping. This movement was documented as early as 631 AD, centuries before anyone could have fabricated it as a medieval forgery. Here is where the story becomes genuinely arresting. When scientists compared the Sudarium of Oviedo to the Shroud of Turin, they found something difficult to dismiss as coincidence. The bloodstains on both cloths share the same blood group, AB. The pattern and positioning of the wounds match, and both cloths carry traces of the same rare pollen species, including Gundalia tourneforti, a thistle found only in the region of ancient Judea. 2 cloths, 2 different countries, 2 completely independent chains of custody across 17 centuries, and the same blood type, the same wound patterns, the same pollen. Experts who have studied both relics have reached a striking conclusion. These 2 cloths most likely covered the same body. Relic 3, the True Cross. In 313 AD, the Roman Emperor Constantine issued an edict granting religious freedom to Christians throughout the empire. It was a turning point in history, and it was Constantine's mother, a woman named Helena, who would make one of the most celebrated discoveries in all of Christendom. Traveling to Jerusalem in 326 AD, Helena oversaw excavations near Golgotha, the site of the Crucifixion. According to historical accounts, 3 crosses were unearthed, and by miraculous means, traditions differ on the details, the cross of Christ was identified among them. What happened next is a testament to how deeply humanity craves connection to the sacred. Fragments of that cross were distributed to churches and communities across the known world. For over 17 centuries, they have been continuously venerated. And when the skeptic Martin Luther famously quipped that there were enough pieces of the true cross in Europe to build an entire house, the historical record tells a different story. A meticulous survey conducted in the 19th century found that all documented fragments of the true cross combined would amount to less than 1/9 of the original volume of a typical Roman crucifixion cross. The relics of the true cross are not scattered splinters of legend. They are among the most carefully preserved and documented objects in Christian history. Today, fragments are held in churches across Europe, including Notre-Dame Cathedral in Paris and the Basilica of the Holy Cross in Jerusalem, Rome. Each tiny piece carries the weight of an entire faith, a tangible filament stretching from a hillside in ancient Judea to the present day. Relic 4, the Crown of Thorns. On the night of April 15, 2019, as flames consumed the roof of Notre-Dame Cathedral in Paris and the spire collapsed into the inferno, firefighters made a decision that astonished the world. They went in, not just to save the building, but to save what was inside it. Among the objects they risked their lives to rescue was a circlet of woven reeds bound by golden threads, the relic known as the Crown of Thorns. The Gospels recount that Roman soldiers, in a moment of grotesque mockery, fashioned a crown from thorns and pressed it onto Jesus' head. This relic, a hoop of Juncus balticus, a plant species native to the eastern Mediterranean, is believed to be that very crown. Its thorns were largely removed over the centuries and distributed as gifts to royalty and churches across Europe. By 1870, a French architect named Charles Rohaut de Fleury counted 139 individual thorns scattered across the continent that were venerated as relics of the crown. Its journey to France is remarkable. During the Middle Ages, the Byzantine Emperor Baldwin II, desperate for funds, used the crown as collateral for an enormous loan from a Venetian banker. When King Louis IX of France, later canonized as St. Louis, offered 135,000 pounds of gold to acquire it. He sent 2 Dominican monks to Venice specifically to ensure the authentic crown was not swapped for a forgery before the handover. That sum was almost 3 times the annual income of the French royal treasury at the time. Louis built the stunning Sainte-Chapelle in Paris specifically to house it. Today, the crown rests under the protection of both the French state and the Catholic Church, displayed publicly only on Fridays during Lent and on Good Friday. It survived a revolution, 2 world wars, and a fire that shocked the world. There is something in that survival that feels, to those who believe, like more than coincidence. Relic 5, the nails of the Crucifixion. Roman crucifixion was not a casual affair. It was a highly systematized method of execution, and iron nails, thick, square-cut, driven through the wrists or hands and through the feet, were its instruments. The Gospels tell us that nails were used in the crucifixion of Jesus, and across Europe today, at least 3 nails are venerated as those very instruments. One resides in the Vatican. Another is held in the Imperial Treasury in Vienna, the Habsburgs' celebrated collection of sacred objects. A third is kept in the Cathedral of Trier, Germany, one of the oldest and most storied churches in the Christian world. What gives these relics genuine historical weight is not tradition alone. Metallurgical analysis has confirmed that all 3 are consistent with Roman nails from the 1st century AD, the correct material, the correct construction technique, the correct period. They are, at minimum, authentic Roman artifacts from the era of the crucifixion. Can science prove these specific nails pierced the hands of Christ? No. That threshold may never be crossable. But can it prove they are medieval fabrications? Also, no. The Church has long acknowledged that certainty is not the point. The nails, like all relics, function as focal points of memory, physical anchors in a story that, for hundreds of millions of people, is not merely historical, but living. Their age is real, their origin is plausible, and the aura of mystery that surrounds them has not dimmed in 2,000 years. Relic 6, the seamless tunic of Argenteuil. Most relics connected to the Passion of Christ are associated with suffering, with wounds, with instruments of torture, with burial cloths. This one is different. The seamless tunic of Argenteuil is a garment that, according to tradition, Jesus wore on the day of his crucifixion. The Gospel of John records something specific about what happened to Jesus' clothing after the soldiers had finished with him. They divided his garments among themselves, but when they came to his tunic, they paused. It was woven in a single piece, without seams, from top to bottom. To tear it would destroy it. So they cast lots for it instead, letting chance decide who would take it whole. The tunic, now kept in the Basilica of Saint-Denis in Argenteuil, France, is a wool garment, woven without seams, exactly as the Gospel describes. It has been documented in Argenteuil since the 6th century, when tradition holds that Empress Irene of Byzantium sent it to Charlemagne, and he in turn presented it to his daughter, who was abbess of a convent at Argenteuil. Multiple independent research studies have dated the fabric to the 1st century, with an origin consistent with ancient Palestine. The weaving technique matches known textile practices of Roman-era Judea. In 2016, over 100,000 pilgrims traveled to Argenteuil over a single week to venerate the tunic, the largest such pilgrimage gathering in recent European history. If you could stand before it, if you could see the actual garment that clothed the body of Jesus in his final hours, what would you feel? That question is one this relic has been asking for 15 centuries. Relic 7, the Holy Chalice of Valencia. We have saved for last the one relic that has been held in the hands of popes, not venerated from a distance, not merely viewed behind glass, actually used in the celebration of the most sacred ritual in Catholic worship. The Holy Chalice of Valencia is a cup carved from dark onyx stone, mounted on a medieval gold base encrusted with gems. It resides in the Cathedral of Valencia, Spain, where it has been displayed for centuries. And according to tradition reaching back to the earliest days of the Church, this is the cup that Jesus raised at the Last Supper, the cup from which he poured the wine that, he told his disciples, was his blood. The tradition holds that St. Peter himself brought the chalice from Jerusalem to Rome, where it was used by the earliest popes in their celebrations of the Eucharist. As persecution of Christians intensified in the 3rd century, Pope Sixtus II sent the cup to Spain for safekeeping, entrusting it to a deacon named Lawrence, who was later martyred. The chalice passed through a series of monasteries across northern Spain before reaching Valencia in 1424. The Vatican officially recognizes the Holy Chalice of Valencia as a historical relic, the only chalice in the world to hold that designation. In 1982, Pope John Paul II celebrated Mass in Valencia using this chalice. Pope Benedict XVI did the same in 2006. These were not ceremonial gestures. They were acts of profound theological intention, a living chain of faith linking the table in an upper room in Jerusalem to a cathedral in modern Spain. The archaeologist Antonio Beltran, who conducted a comprehensive analysis of the chalice, concluded that the stone cup itself, as distinct from its medieval gold base, is of Oriental origin and dates to the 1st century before or after Christ. Is it the cup of the Last Supper? Perhaps that question is unanswerable, but it is the right age, it is from the right region. It has been venerated by popes who considered it worthy of their most sacred act of worship. 7 objects. 2,000 years. Empires, invasions, fires, revolutions, world wars, and through all of it, these relics survived. We cannot tell you with absolute certainty that any one of them was touched by the hands of Jesus of Nazareth. History rarely deals in certainties, and matters of faith even less so. But consider this. The shroud carries an image that no known scientific process can explain. The Sudarium shares a blood type and wound pattern with that shroud across 1,700 years of separate history. The Crown of Thorns survived a conflagration that brought a medieval cathedral to its knees. The Holy Chalice was considered sacred enough to be used by 2 different popes in the celebration of Mass. Coincidence has its limits. For the hundreds of millions of people around the world who draw meaning from these relics, the question of physical authenticity may be secondary to something deeper. These objects are focal points of memory, anchors in the story of a man whose existence is one of the most historically documented of the ancient world, and whose influence has shaped civilization more than any other single figure. Whether you approach them as a believer, a skeptic, or simply a curious observer of history, they ask the same question of every person who stands before them. What do you believe, and what would it mean if you were right? If this video opened a door you'd like to walk through further, hit subscribe and share it with someone who still believes in the eternal. There is much more to explore, and we are just getting started.